I've been scrolling the Amazon Prime Day deals at both Amazon and all the competing places this morning so I can bring you what I think are the top 5 related to PC gaming hardware, but also a bunch of good graphics card options that I actually mentioned yesterday because I think Newegg had their graphics card sales up before Prime Day actually started, and those do seem to be the best deals I'm finding. But one quick note about Prime Day is it's easy to get scammed on thinking you have a much bigger discount than you really do. It's important to look at what the actual normal price of an item is. And there's a few different websites and apps that can do that for you. I tend to use Camel, but I've heard Keepa also works. The point is that you can look at an Amazon item and put in its ASIN number, or you could use like a Chrome browser extension or something like that, and pull up an Amazon price history so you can see where this item has usually been. For example, the monitor you just saw behind me is its previous lowest price was $229 here, and often has sat around $290, although this is a fairly new product, so it's only been available since March. But again, you get that price history. Now, the price history, I've noticed, doesn't seem to take into account certain types of discounts like coupon codes and things like that. So, it's not absolutely perfect, but you can get a pretty good idea of what the normal price for the item is, because sometimes products have their prices just absolutely jacked up to the moon a month before Prime Day and then just drop down to a normal price or even a higher than normal price, but pretend that it's some kind of massive discount. Now, that being said, on this screen, this actually is a discount, and this is a highly reviewed monitor. So this is for example, showed up at Monitors Unboxed recently as a great 1440p bang for the buck monitor and reviewed quite well here. This is a 180 hertz IPS display, 1440p, has G-Sync and FreeSync compatibility and all of that. So I think this would meet most people's needs if you're looking to upgrade to a 1440p monitor, because again, prices have been coming down on them. It could be a good time to do that. However, I have another fairly inexpensive 1440p option to take a look at, which is a VA panel, and this one is at Newegg. But the reason I'm bringing this one up is this one is mini LED, or in other words, it has an array of dimming zones behind the screen to allow certain parts of the picture to be much brighter than others and to dim other parts of the screen much dimmer than others without having to do the entire panel bright or dim at the same time, allowing for a much better HDR experience. So if you're interested in an HDR monitor that doesn't break the bank, this one is on sale for $250. Now, Camel just tracks Amazon price history, but if you look at some other options, for example, I looked at this monitor on PC Part Picker, where they can track price histories as well. I did see that this is the lowest price that they have tracked for this monitor. So this does seem to be a legitimate sale on this screen. And again, having that really strong HDR performance for only $250 on 180 hertz 1440p display is very impressive. And like getting specs like this just a few years ago would have cost hundreds of dollars more. Now, one thing I'll mention here, if you're comparing these two displays, is while this one should have better HDR experience, this is a VA panel. And VA panels can have a little bit of ghosting on especially like dark gray transitions and things like that. However, I looked up reviews of this one, and it's reviewed extremely well at Monitors Unboxed, where it was listed as best 1440p kind of not super expensive HDR monitor, and that's when it was at a more of a $280 price point, and it's even lower today. But also, I did spot this one at Ratings as their best gaming monitor under $500. So it's coming highly recommended and reviewed. I haven't used it myself. And I've seen in those reviews that compared to other VA panels, some of those smearing issues aren't anywhere near as bad as they are on some other VA displays. So I would say that if you're interested in kind of HDR experience, this monitor is probably a really good way to get in there at a reasonable price. And if you're not so interested in the HDR experience, want to save a bit of money, and go with the IPS display, this monitor is a really good choice. And I really think that right now is a very good time, like I said, to get into 1440p monitors. I've done a video on that recently, where I feel like the technology in them has improved a lot while the prices have been coming down. So it's pretty affordable for a lot of people at this point to look into that. Now, from more of the actual components inside the gaming computer side of things, I was looking for some CPU deals. We have AMD's new generation of processors coming out in just a couple of weeks, so I'm not really sure this is the best time to buy a CPU, but I did find the 12700KF on Amazon for $166.99. So at $167, this is a lot of CPU performance for gaming and multi-core workloads for a pretty reasonable price. Now, I know I've reported in my news videos recently about Intel processors having stability issues. However, those headlines are about the 13900K and 14900K most often. And while some of the i7 processors rather than the i9s are also having issues, that again seems to be mostly on the 13th and 14th generation, I have not seen any reports of widespread issues on Intel's 12th gen CPUs. And honestly, their 12th gen CPUs offer some of the best kind of more value-oriented performance right now, just because their prices have been discounted so much compared to when they launched. If we want to check on the pricing history here, again, looking at Camel, this was a $450 product when it first launched and has been just trailing down steadily since then with some ups and downs. But Camel has $176.01 listed as the previous all-time low. So this does appear to be lower than the previous all-time low we've seen on a 12700KF from Amazon. And again, there's a lot of gaming performance here. If you are putting together a gaming PC, you might want to look into a power supply. And I know a lot of people are going to question the name Superflower, but I'll tell you one thing, this is a high quality power supply, and this is a great deal on it, and it's actually the power supply in the PC I'm recording this video on right now, and I've used it for years, as well as I've used some like EVGA power supplies that were highly reviewed, and guess who actually manufactured the power supply, and then a label was stuck on top of it, Superflower. So while I know they're not one of the well-known brand names, if you look up like the PSU cultists tier list and you look at the gold model of the LED X3, this is listed as an A tier PSU. The bronze model is listed as a B tier, but the gold tier Superflower LED X3 850 watt is listed as an A tier power supply. And if you check this out, if you join Newegg Plus, which is free, this is not like an Amazon Prime thing, which costs you money every month. By the way, if you need an Amazon Prime free trial, I can link one of those in like a pinned comment or something. I'll link all links to all this stuff in a pinned comment in the video description. But anyway, Newegg Plus membership is free. And that gets you $15 off the $95 price and brings us down to $80. So at $80, an 850 watt gold rated and A tier on the PSU cultist tier list is a pretty ridiculously good deal. And again, I have this exact power supply. I can see it in my PC right there. I've never had any issues with it. I've even run up to an RTX 4090 on it without problems. So anyway, I'd highly recommend it. And at this price, I think this is the best power supply deal we're going to be seeing right now. Now, one place I think a lot of people miss where they could upgrade their PC gaming experience is actually the audio. A lot of people are using some like maybe lower end gamer style headsets or speakers, which just honestly aren't that great. And not only can it improve your enjoyment of single-player games and just content consumption and things like that, but better headphones can actually get you competitive advantages in if you're playing a first-person shooter game and you have headphones with a really good sound stage where you can actually pinpoint exactly where you're hearing things from. Upgrading the audio of your system can be a surprisingly effective upgrade. And these Sennheiser HD 599 SE headphones are coming in at just under $90 here. Now, this is one of those ones where it looks like a massive deal, and it is a good deal, but if we check the pricing history, it's a deal that pops up fairly frequently. And apparently at one point in history, quite a while back, it may have even gone down as low as $80, but this isn't that far off of that point. But you can see this kind of goes up and down, up and down, up and down, where generally it can hang out pretty high, but it does frequently dip into this $90-ish territory. But this is about as low as they go. And this is a good headphone set. Now, do note that this is open back headphones, meaning that these are kind of an open grill, which means sound will be able to come out and into these headphones. So if you're in a noisy environment or you don't want your headphone sounds leaking out for other people to hear, that's maybe not ideal, but oftentimes it can help with the real natural feel and open sound stage, which is really nice. So I'd point you towards these. Now, the last thing I want to get to is graphics card deals, which is I know what a lot of people are waiting for on Prime Day. And I've got to say, I didn't see anything particularly impressive at Amazon, but Newegg seems to be coming in with a bunch of GPU price drops around Prime Day, so that's kind of nice. So it's not from Amazon, but you can still get some GPU deals today with Newegg's Fantastic deal. Now, if you're looking for an Nvidia GPU deal, I think the best one I can find right now is the RTX 4070, where it gets this extra $35 off, which would take this down to $500 even. Technically $499.99, but guys, that's $500. Anyway, so at $500 when you use the code here, that's lower than we generally see RTX 4070s for. 4070 is going to be a good graphics card. Right now, Nvidia is also offering a game bundle, so this would also come with Black Myth Wukong, which I know according to like Steam wishlist numbers and internet traffic and all of that, seems to be a game a lot of people are excited for, although it's not actually out yet, so who knows if it actually ends up being good. But basically, so for $500 plus the game, if that's interesting to you, that can be a pretty good deal if you're looking for an Nvidia graphics card. That being said, it seems like the AMD graphics cards are getting steeper discounts here. And if you're shopping at the $500 price point where we're seeing here, you might want to consider the AMD RX 7900 GRE, which is getting an extra $10 off its $520 price point to hit it at $510. So this will only be $10 more than this RTX 4070. It won't come with the free game, so if you were really interested in planning on buying Black Myth Wukong, you could factor that into your decision. If you weren't that interested in that game, maybe don't factor that in. However, this is a 16 gigabyte graphics card instead of 12 on the Nvidia product, which is nice. And in general, non-ray traced performance, the 7900 GRE will often be noticeably faster. In lighter ray tracing workloads, it'll actually often be even, but in the heaviest ray tracing workloads, it will fall behind. And Nvidia does have a better upscaler with DLSS instead of FSR, which can certainly be nice if you're trying to boost performance by upscaling. So again, I'm not going to tell you exactly which one would be right for you. It kind of depends on if you're more interested in the feature set and maybe the game bundle versus a bit more raw performance and VRAM. I think what I actually think more people may be interested in if you're looking for really good value is actually this RX 6800 on Newegg for $340. Because at $340, this is also a 16 gigabyte graphics card like the 7900 GRE. It's not as fast as the 7900 GRE, but it's still about as fast as like a 7700 XT from AMD. It's faster than a 4060 Ti, and it has 16 gigabytes. So this is putting up a really good value here at $340. Again, no game bundles or anything like that with it, But this is a very good 16 gigabyte graphics card at a really, really attractive price. So honestly, out of all these GPU deals, this might be the one that I would maybe consider the most exciting one. Just for the being at a really attractive price point with a lot of performance and 16 gigabytes of VRAM. Now, if this is still a bit more over budget for you, then if you need to get under $300, AMD's RX 6750 XT is currently at $280 on Newegg. And at $280, this is a 12 gigabyte graphics card, but it's competing in price with the RTX 4060, which is an 8 gigabyte graphics card. And this will often be, 15 to 20% faster than that 4060, even when the 12 gigabytes of VRAM isn't needed. And if you're spilling over the 8 gigabytes of VRAM on the 4060, that can cause you issues as well. So again, this is making a lot of sense at this price point. So anyway, hopefully you guys found these deals useful and or interesting. I will link everything in the video description and pinned comment. And I'll also be looking for other deals, and I'll be posting them on my community page if I see anything interesting. Maybe if I find enough other stuff that didn't make it into this video as I continue to browse things, maybe another deal video tomorrow if, like I said, if I find enough stuff to be interesting, but definitely stay tuned to the community page and things like that. And I hope all of you have an excellent day.